Oh my god! Oh my god! What have we just witnessed?
There is so much panic that our producer also doesn't know whether we are live or we are not live. We are not, because quite honestly, I've seen a lot of cricket. Not seen something as crazy as what we have just witnessed at the Wankhede Stadium. And this is the Wankhede Stadium where we saw India win a World Cup. This is the Wankhede Stadium where Dhoni hit the iconic six. I will maintain this is the Wankhede Stadium where Sachin Tendulkar played his last ever international game. Yet, what we have witnessed today is absolute madness by Glenn Maxwell.
Oh my goodness.
I for one never had a doubt that he'll do it. We'll get to that a little later.
Okay.
The big question is, greatest ODI knock ever?
Yes.
It has to be. It has to be. Like, I've not seen somebody be challenged because of conditions, his body not being with him to that extent. We've seen bigger knocks. We've seen a 264. We've seen a 237. We've seen a double. We've seen 2 double hundreds being scored at the Cricket World Cup about 8 years back. We've not seen anything like this. We've not seen anything like this.
Look at the context. 91 for 7. Okay. Win percentage was 6% to Australia. 6%. Maxwell channeling his inner Australianism. What is Australianism? Never giving up. Aided by luck with that dropped catch, Mujib dropped the World Cup semi-final hope. Then a review, somehow bouncing over the stumps. His body gave up. Lower back, hamstring, cramps, full body cramp. At one point, we were all worried. He's absolutely in shock.
It was as though somebody was giving him shocks.
Yes.
The way he was writhing in pain on the ground.
But without any leg function or anything. Flicks, reverse hits, shots, gets to a double hundred with 6, 4, 4, 6. And you have had the most successful chase ever at the Wankhede, most successful World Cup chase. Out of 292, Maxwell hits 201. The first double century
during
in a chase. It's happened. It took something freakish in that partnership of 201, may I add, with Cummins, who contributed 12 of 68. The greatest 12 of 68 in history.
You know, you've said the most vital 12. I remember who was on the other end when Rohit Sharma hit those 264.
Robin Uthappa.
It was Robin Uthappa who was batting at 18 not out. What was he doing? Exactly what Cummins was doing today. Just ensuring that Maxwell is on strike. That is all. That is probably, I remember one of the commentators saying back then, it's by far the most patient innings or the most patient 18 runs he'd ever seen in international cricket. I think we've seen the next best to that, let's say 12 of the most patient knocks. But look at the faith that he had in Maxwell. Always knew Maxwell could do it, and look at him, grinning at the moment. But this is one shot I remember he'd hit down the round even when he was struggling. This is one shot that he had hit down the ground. It beat the fielder. And despite, all those cramps that he was going through, that pumped him up.
Yes.
That pumped him up, and he was suddenly just hobbling all over the place. In fact, towards the end, it didn't appear as if, those cramps were as severe as they were. At one point, he'd gotten over those cramps perhaps. But Glenn Maxwell, hats off to you. What have you showed us today? And I just want to add to the point that Siddharth made earlier on, which is the fact that mentality. You talk about mentality. This is elite level mentality. Not giving up. Having so much confidence in oneself that you don't give up. That's what you saw today.
This is Australianism. What I have said, John Arlott, one of the most famous writers and commentators, had described Australianism as the ability to keep on fighting until it is humanly possible to achieve victory. The last time I had seen an Australianism was in Michael Hussey's knock that he did in the 2010 World T20 against Pakistan. That was also an impossible situation.
I was at the ground.
Wow.
It was St. Lucia.
Yes.
Pakistan versus Australia. And Michael Hussey. That got awarded as, in that year of the ICC Awards, the best T20 knock of the year. For me, it will be the best T20 knock of the decade. Arguably the best T20 knock ever. Maybe
Yes.
Maybe
Virat Kohli is 82.
Virat Kohli is 82, runs him close.
Yes. But
Look at
this knock today has redefined Australianism. And that is why one of our colleagues upstairs was asking, shades of 1999 loading. Because Australia were in a similar bad situation in 1999, they lost 2 games, were tried in a lot of thrillers, and yet they won the title. Remember, even in 2003, that Australian team had 2 to 3 thrillers. They came through. Only 2007, you are seeing the shades of that Indian team of now in 2007. But this 91 for 7, we are all thinking, we are all wondering, okay, how can Afghanistan script a fairy tale? We are all thinking on those lines itself. This man comes in, Glenn Maxwell, changes the entire momentum. First with his big hitting. Remember, after he got that life, there was a stat that came up. His strike rate was 181, 6s, 4s. When he got that injury, he turned into beast mode. And today we have been privileged. As far as I can see it, this year, I think it is already one of the greatest ODI knocks that you're seeing this year.
And he was never in pressure. When they were even 7 down, neither was he in pressure, nor was the Australian team in any kind of pressure. He was playing his full. What happens is when you're 7 down, you try to build that momentum again. You try to get back on ways again. But he came in and he played all his shots since the word go.
And shall I add one more thing in that? At one point, their required rate went over 6. But Maxwell, with just 3 wickets remaining, with such a bowling attack, I mean, we all thought Rashid, Noor, Nabi, Mujib will trouble them. They did. Naveenul Haq and for Azmatullah Omarzai. How could they have come? They had no business winning this Australia. They absolutely had no business. But that never say die. And that's why they are one of the greatest teams the sport has ever seen.
And you know, despite all those issues that he was facing with this body, I have never seen somebody bat. It was as if, you know, he was placed on a virtual axis.
Yes.
He was virtually played on an axis and he was just batting around it.
Yep, indeed.
Like somebody sold him it, but even then, you know, with his body not being with him, what shot did we not see him play? He was reverse sweeping the ball. He reverse swept twice and it went for a 6. The third time that he tried it, it didn't middle it went for a 4.
Yes. Luckily, he got other to hit the pad, remember?
But how? Yeah. Just if you played cricket, you would know how difficult all of these shots are anyway for a fully fit player.
Exactly.
For me, the shot which totally deflated Afghanistan, even when he was injured, that reverse sweep for 6.
In fact, we were talking upstairs also that they should try to make Glenn Maxwell stretch a little more, reach the ball. They were bowling him short. He was sweeping that up over third man cover. They did not know what to do. They did not know which player they should take out or they should have inside the circle.
I mean, you remember when you have a sickle, you scythe through, right? Remember some of the shots that he was hitting against Mohammad Nabi, scything it. And look at the power. For a guy who's very lean, this guy has enormous power, and every 6 that he hit, everything was middled.
Yeah.
Nothing was top edged. And that is why Maxwell's knock in the broader circumstances, 91 for 7, Afghanistan all but entering the semi-finals because of this. He says, how that dialogue is in Welcome, Abhi tak main zinda hu. And boy,
it's only fitting that, you know, somebody that we see on our screens right now, Shane Watson, remember we talk him play with a bloody knee?
yes.
That's the Australian mentality. That's the Australian mentality, and then it runs in. You know, it's you talk about generational wealth. This is generational attitude. Let's say.
I mean, look at so many instances of Australianism. Rick McCosker, the most iconic, broken jaw, yet he comes out to bat. Dean Jones, the late great Dean Jones.
Yeah.
Look at how Alan Borders chirp, and also weak Victorian 1. Maybe weak Victorian 2. He did not want to go. Look at a cramp, a back spasm or anything. It's brutally painful. The shock that he got, I'm sure he must have been screaming with pain. But he refused. I will win it for the team, and he did it. Other example.
That one.
Yes.
Look at that. See, it almost pains to see that he's in excruciating pain. You can see that. That pain was almost palpable.
Yeah. Any other examples of Australianism? Not just this, even the women's team. Elise Perry had a sprained ankle. But she bowled in the final 10 overs on the trot, won them the title. It runs in their veins. The attitude to win at any cost and ensure we go out with pride. Every single, right from Rick McCosker all the way till Glenn Maxwell, 60 years in our documented thing. There might have been others also in the past. But 50 years of documented Australianism. Maxwell has shown why he is a special one. Coming back from that concussion.
Yes.
Had Australia missed him in this game, they were done. They were gone. Cam Green, I don't think would have replicated this kind of a knock, although we don't know how it could have been. But
no, but that's the thing I told you about this Aussie team.
Yes.
Not just Maxwell. That is the thing about this Aussie team. Because you're saying, what if Maxwell wasn't there? This is the thing about this Aussie team. Though he's played once in a lifetime knock, which I completely agree. This is the thing about this Aussie team. If it's not Maxwell, then it is David Warner. If it is not David Warner, it is Travis Head. Of course, Warner wouldn't have played this kind of knock, but Warner would have got you, or is capable to get you a 150 or 130 ball and set you that platform to chase 270 down. You wouldn't have needed a 201 like that. A Travis Head could do that in his own style. If it's not that, a Mitchell Marsh could do it. Today, Steve Smith is not playing, not been informed. A Glenn Maxwell, as you saw, can do it. That's why I told you that this is a team to fear. By the way, if you're an Indian fan, I think as much as we love the Afghanistan team, and we're going to talk about them and their effort as well, which is worthy of a mention. But if you're an Indian fan, as I am, this result is kind of a relief to me. And I will tell you why. What this result has done is guaranteed that Australia finish either second or third on the points table. This is guaranteed.
Yes.
What that is guaranteed, because India is guaranteed the number one spot, what that is guaranteed is that India is not playing Australia in the semi-final. So India will now only play Pakistan, New Zealand or Afghanistan, they're not out, or Afghanistan in the semi-final. While again, just the rider or the asterisk there is, it's not to say that if India is playing either Pakistan, New Zealand or Afghanistan, they're guaranteed of a final place. I'm not saying that. But India will of course clearly start as a favourite when they play that. But if India were to play Australia, I still think this Indian team would start as favourite. I still think this Indian team, even if they were to face them in the final, I'll clearly say, eyes closed, India with the way the cricket they're playing is going to be favourite. But the only thing I sometimes worry about, and as an Indian fan who has seen heartbreaks in the recent past, those knockouts, is that exactly this. If it happens to be a day where Mad Max goes crazy,
Berserk.
or as I said, a Mitch Marsh goes crazy, or Travis Head goes crazy, or David Warner goes crazy.
Just to add to all those instances, 2 years back, where were they in that game against Pakistan? Comes in Matthew Wade.
yes,
T20 World Cup.
Exactly.
he and Marcus Stoinis.
Again, I repeat before I get trolled and people, that India anyway play any team in semis or final, they'll start favourite. That's how good they've been. They've beaten this Australian team, let's not forget. So they are clear cut. But I'm saying is, if I'm doing calculative measurement, and I want to take the most advantage, then I will look at the team that I'm more likely to beat. And then I would prefer any of these teams other than Australia to face.
Which you could meet in the final though.
Well, I'll still give India the chance
Yes.
to beat Australia. They're a better team than Australia.
Yep.
India didn't struggle like Australia did to beat Afghanistan. This is the same Australian team. They were 7 down also.
Yes.
India were not. So India clearly more superior, more well balanced. And by the way, India's bowling also would not necessarily concede those many 290 runs to Afghanistan on this track. Delhi, they did concede a few, but that was a completely different flat batting track.
And
this
India
track
won
they won.
by a handsome margin also.
You saw what Indian bowlers did on this track to Sri Lanka. So they won. In all departments, India are way superior to this Australian team. I say that. But I'm saying, because knockouts is, you don't get a second chance. Knockout is a one-off game. And on certain days, you don't want to, one outstanding effort, crazy effort can just take the game away from you, right? You don't, like for example, that 2003 World Cup, it's not that, okay, maybe Australia started favor, but that wasn't the big difference. It was that one Ricky Ponting, just
140.
141.
140.
140.
Spring. The bat had springs.
Oh, yeah.
whatever it had. I'm saying I don't want that.
It
So,
scarred Harshit's generation though, definitely.
Yeah.
what it's done is to ensure that, by the way, this is what it's guaranteed, that Australia have now qualified. The two teams that had been, that is India, South Africa, Australia, all Q. And now we'll know the fourth team is going to be a shootout. Those permutation combinations we'll get back to later. Getting back to Glenn Maxwell, I can't have enough of it. I know you spoke a lot. But my standout feature of Glenn Maxwell's inning is Glenn Maxwell had to deal with pressure. Came at 71 for 7 or what was
91
it?
for
91 for 7. Pressure.
Yep.
So he's dealing with pressure. Very soon he had to deal with the Mumbai Heat.
Yes.
Exhaustion. He was, hunching a bit, tough. We saw Virat Kohli
Yes.
have that in these humid conditions. But Virat, as someone as fit as Virat could, so first he's dealing with pressure, then he's dealing with the humidity. Then suddenly comes the third thing, he has to deal with back pain. He lies down, he's dealing with back pain. Fourth thing he has to deal with, suddenly that comes hamstring.
Yes.
Fifth thing suddenly that comes he has to deal with is cramps. And then a imposing total of 290 to chase. So he's dealing with so many things. Yet my standout feature of Glenn Maxwell's innings is that smile never left his face throughout the duration of the innings. Was just smiling. I mean, like we were talking about Virat playing that outstanding knock, which you will compare. I mean, though different format, but one of those once in a lifetime knock Virat. But when you see, you can see tension, there's determination, but there's tension, there's worry, there's a lot of talk in the middle, what to do, when to attack. Virat has now even spoken extensively about that inning where he says, we were talking, we were calculating, and I thought that in this case, it felt like all along as if, he's having all these issues, but he's still like playing a club game or a game with his friends in the park where issues are there, but he's smiling. He's sailing through all of that. And maybe that's the reason why he played a knock like that.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
I know he's not had a good time playing golf in the past, but I think all those golf shots did help him today. The way he was smacking the ball was almost as if he was playing a game of golf.
And I think that's a very big difference. I think that's a cultural difference also between us and the Australians also, that I don't think they were at any point of time they were under pressure, nor was the Australian dressing room also. To the shots Glenn Maxwell was playing, they were also enjoying that, they were laughing to it. If it would have been an Indian side or a Pakistani side or Afghanistan, how they panicked eventually also, then I think anyone else would have tried to come and build that innings first and try to get the team back again. But here he just, from the word go, he just played what he does best, and that's exactly what.
But maybe that is also down to the fact that they almost virtually qualified for the semis. Like, I know they wouldn't have mathematically had they lost, but you would have known that they would have. Their last game is Bangladesh. They were in control of their destiny. I guess that pressure of qualification was not there. Had it been a do or die clash, maybe scenes would have been different. Also, the other thing is, I think sometimes what happens is, when you have reached a situation where all is lost, or like you're at a situation where it's like in your mind game is done, which was the case.
Yes.
Then when you start winning, you start enjoying. The panic usually sets in when close game, this might happen, that might happen. Here I think even the best of his friends in the dressing room like done, and then suddenly he starts playing it, so you start enjoying it. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's nice. But can we win it? I don't think so. I think lost. Oh, but can we win it? Can we win it? And that, I guess, is the thing which allowed.
But even when they reached a position where they were about to win it, that attitude by which he played did not change. That is something that I really like about this Australian side, and I think that is also something you should be scared about as you meet them in the knockouts if you do.
See, when the
Final. What knockout?
Now though, there's only final if you're meeting Australia.
When the chips are down, Australia raise their mental game next level. There is a reason why in 48 years why they have lost only 2 finals. Whenever they have qualified, they have made the best out of it. That's why they are 5-time champions. On any given day, 15 we thought, okay, New Zealand, everybody is darling, they can do it. Okay, 183, we raise you up to 183 and then you win in a canter. This Australian team, when it comes to pressure, intimidation, look at everything was stacked against them. 91 for 7, 6 over 6 and the required rate, cramps, Mumbai Heat, Afghanistan, everybody's sentimental favourite. They still came through. And they won it with 3 overs to spare, by the way.
Today I was reminded of something that Sir Alex Ferguson used to say. I remember in the early 2000s, he would say that, playing Champions League, give me Zinedine Zidane and give me 11 pieces of wood, I'm winning you the match.
Yes.
Today, you gave this Australian side Glenn Maxwell an 11 piece of wood, who anyway did play like 11 pieces of wood. He scored 201 runs, yeah. 201 runs. Glenn Maxwell, hats off.
But run us through the records.
Okay, so
Sit GPT quickly.
the highest successful ODI chase ever at the Wankhede.
Okay.
Number 1. Number 2, the highest successful chase for Australia in World Cups, overcoming the 287 that they had against New Zealand in 1996.
Okay.
Chennai, first Australian to hit a double 100, if you look at it. Okay, more than that, first double 100 in a successful chase. That is the clincher here. First double 100 in a successful chase. So that's 3. Third individual to hit a double 100 in a World Cup after Guptill, Gale, and now it's Maxi. So 237, 215, 201 not out. Out of that, only 2 were not outs. Guptill 237 and Maxi. And a double 100 from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double 100 at number 6, that has to be a first.
Yeah.
Nobody else, I think, would have hit a double 100 at number 6.
That can be a.
So, these are the records, and Australia have made it
Okay.
to yet another semi-final.
That's not surprising.
We've seen Test double 100 somebody reach with a 6, not ODI, I'm sure.
I want to know.
No, Shuman Gill did.
Yeah.
Shuman Gill did.
Yes.
I want to know. Each of you. Your Mujib, the guy who dropped him when he was on 33. The remaining 2 chances, by the way, the other catch was.
Yeah, by Hashpatullah Shahidi.
That was, I wouldn't count it as a catch. That would have been like a blinder. Would have been as stunning as the knock that Maxwell played had he taken it. So I'm not counting it. That DRS call 50-50 went Maxwell's way.
Because it was missing. It was no umpire's call or anything. It was missing. Yeah.
So that's not. The one chance that he got was a sitter. Would Mujib should have taken, dropped it at fine leg. Short fine.
Short
drops
fine,
it.
yeah.
fine.
Yeah, short fine drops it. If you are Mujib now, what is going through your head? One by one. Starting with the youngs.
The only positive I'm going to take out
Not
of it.
positive. What is
No,
going through your
what will go through my mind is I'll try to take out a positive, and I'm going to think whenever someone's been on the receiving ends, when something has gone down in history, they have turned out to be very great players like Stuart Broad or Ben Stokes. So I'll just think about that.
that I'll be the next Stuart Broad or
Hopefully.
Ben Stokes. Very positive.
Yeah, quite positive.
So if you're Mujib, you're thinking like,
Yeah, he's a young boy. I don't want him to.
you have to put yourself in Mujib's shoes.
Yeah, even I'd think like that.
I think given the passion with which these guys play, they clearly have their heart on their sleeve. I think he is going to be under tremendous pressure because he knows had they won today, it would have really meant so much for the nation, which is anyway facing so much oppression. Forget cricket, and how these guys dedicate so much to the people over there. I think he knows the burden of expectations. So right now, I think he's going to be tormented for a couple of days. He'll really need somebody like a Jonathan Trott or maybe a revisit from Sachin Tendulkar if that can happen, or Ajay Jadeja, somebody who's there to really help the young lad over there, because I think this is like the pressure of the Mount Everest that the poor guy will have to just shoulder on his own. He could be crying in his bedroom today for all you know, because it's massive. He knows the game was done over there.
I mean, I remember Hansi Cronje when that 1999 semi-final, he was like trying to speak, but he just couldn't. He was numbed by that realization. Number one, I think Mujib will be numbed. He will be in a state of shock now. After a day or two, it will probably hit him. I think I squandered a golden chance for Afghanistan to come closer to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
But knowing what Afghanistan has been through over all these decades, I think mentally they are much more resilient. I think with, as you said, Harshad, there's the likes of Jonathan Trott, Ajay Jadeja and all. They are very solid, calm, dedicated minds. They'll tell him, it happens in elite sport. It happened to an Herschel Gibbs also. When he dropped the World Cup, in the words of Steve Waugh, he's much, much younger than Herschel Gibbs and he's gone through so much of pressure. They'll say, move on, scan ahead. You got one more game against South Africa, redeem yourself. But today he'll be numbed.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Mujib, I would be looking to dig a hole and hide.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anyone to see me for at least a few days. Nobody, if I'm in my room, I wouldn't want to. I understand that you'd want senior players, and I'm sure that they'll do that.
Yeah.
Maybe, we saw the other day Rashid give such a nice inspirational speech to his team. So I'm sure that they'll do it, the captain, him, the coach staff, all of that, will do all of that. But somehow, this is something that you have to live with yourself.
Yes.
From whatever is done on the outside is another thing, you have to live with it. And the knock that he's played, and I think the context of them almost having taken one other major step towards the semi-final, that not happening, that will stay with him for long. I think people around him will forgive him.
Yes.
That won't be a question, because everyone who's a player realizes that it's a cricketing incident. I can't think of a single player who was out of the 22 that participated that have never dropped a catch in their lives in an international.
Yeah.
I'm sure everyone has. So, it's nothing that none of those guys have experienced. It's just that sometimes you need to live with it, and I don't think that's easy. So
No, I think
that'll stay for very long.
I think also Afghanistan's fan base, they are far more understanding.
Yeah.
Because they keep realizing expectations are realistic for
I
them.
am not even going to. I'm saying yourself.
Yeah.
It's everyone around you, as I said, will understand. Those players will understand. Your coaching staff understand. The fans will be distraught today, but they will rally behind their players
Yes.
sooner or later. All of that happens. It's just with you.
Yeah.
You can't sometimes forgive yourself. Sometimes it also depends on personality. Sometimes you're very harsh on them. I mean, it happened, right? That though I must say, a lot of people said that, look at Glenn Maxwell, he was very lucky, lots of inside edges, outside edges, going for fours, as I said, drop catches, DRS, all of this thing. But you got to look at the other side also. He was also unlucky with the fact that he got back pain. He was also unlucky with the fact that he got hamstring issues. So there was luck that went his side. There was also a lot of bad luck that came his way in this game. Had he been fully fit, he wouldn't have to improvise, innovate, not be able to take singles. By the way, the other biggest quality, as I mentioned about Smiley, let's not forget his other biggest quality, which a lot of I've seen top level players unable to do, and I think we should not miss about that, is the fact how he batted with a Cummins.
Yes.
I actually mean to say tail, and that will be a tail. I understand that Pat Cummins is a much decent batter than a lot of other tail enders, but whatever said and done, he's still batting at number 9 today.
Yep.
So he's a number 9 batter who Maxwell is batting with in a one-day game where you have to keep up with the net run rate, and you've lost so many wickets. So even that skill of batting with a tail-ender came to the fore. So it wasn't just about all mad hitting, that he hit the ball at every part of the boundary, which we know he has the ability to do, but also a lot of sensibility of when to take single, last ball single, when not to take, when to look for a boundary.
Yeah.
Incredible. And I'll even go to that extent, that portion of, because all of us had different opinion. When it was that situation, see, when he was being able to run, he was managing very well, and that's what I'm really praising, that when to take a single, when he reached a stage where he could not run, where he had to ensure that Pat Cummins either is on the strike and him. At that time also, many could have argued that, listen, okay, you can't run, but that's when someone like a Pat Cummins need to take some chances, hit for it, it's okay, somebody else will come. But see, again, at that time was another thing. In hindsight, you can say that to have this kind of faith on a Glenn Maxwell, where there is a Pat Cummins who can also tonk it. We've seen it in the IPL. He's won new games from like hopeless, even in international games.
Yeah.
But imagine the conviction that Australia had in this game plan, where they said, okay, now runs are not happening. No, Pat, you're still not to take any chances. No, Pat, you're still going to play out maidens after maidens, because we will stick with this plan where Maxi, who can't even reach the ball, goes for it. So that is also certain other facets of this game which make it absolutely incredible.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Kudos to the captain,
the best 12 of 68. ever.
He, by the way, is a decent bat. Let's not forget, he
Yeah.
scored the second fastest 50 in IPL history. Let's not forget, 14 balls, was it?
Yeah.
He's done that, so he knows he can, he's no monk with the bat. Let's be honest about it. So for him to also, hold on to that instinct, stick to that plan, be a true leader, talks a lot about his leadership as well.
What are we to deduce from this innings of Glenn Maxwell? That you don't need footwork to succeed in ODI cricket.
Yes. Hand-eye coordination.
Bad if you're batting on an axis.
So long as you have good hand-eye coordination,
Exactly.
you can get a double 100.
And you have the heart to take risks.
Yeah.
Ulta, seedha, ta.
Honestly, like, you know,
How do you do it,
I'm
yeah?
not going to agree with Shashwat when we were watching the game. He was like, "Arey, yahan kyun nahi ball dal raha? Wahan kyun nahi dal raha?" They tried everything.
Everything, yeah.
But he found a way to hit
Yeah.
it. So that tells you.
I mean, they tried bowling wide. What did he switch it and
They tried to.
4-6.
They tried.
Man.
They tried that he should reach to the ball. He then sweep that also.
Swept. So
This was unbelievable.
You mentioned about Nabi. I remember when Nabi pitched it up, went for a 6-over long on. Then of course Maxwell knew he's not going to pitch it up now. He's going to go a little wider now. Okay, then gets onto the back foot. Tongs it on the offside for a boundary.
2 4s, I remember.
Yorkers, he reverse sweep the Yorkers and short balls.
But
he plays
one
them in
thing, by
gaps.
the way, I think where Afghanistan's plant went awry was the fact that the dew, I think, played a part over here. Because, you know, had Australia not shot themselves in the foot, and we know under lights, like Siddharth, you and I were talking at the start of the match, right, when we're doing the build-up, talked about how the ball can move around under the lights at the Wankhede. They got unnerved over there in that first half hour, rather the first 40 minutes, only lost the first 4 wickets very quickly. It was 91 for 7, as we all know. 46 for 4 also at one point. So had they played smartly, you know, you talk about that bad half hour for the Indian team, that was that bad half hour 40 minutes for the Australian team. Because later on the ball wasn't doing much. Even the spinners, couple of them went wicketless after that.
Yeah. But what I also feel is that Afghanistan got a little too overexcited once they got that the top 6-7 wickets, and they started thinking ahead of time. They were in the zone that we are on the verge of beating Australia and getting very close to the semi-final. I think in that moment it happened very quickly that Maxwell came and Mujib dropped that catch. So I think in his head he was much ahead of the game, and that's where I think he dropped the catch. That's where they took those unnecessary reviews, and I think that is where in that little marginal time Glenn Maxwell shifted the whole momentum, and it was game over.
I mean, he had
that.
He had a vision. I mean, after 34 of 39, when that catch drop happened of Mujib, 34 of 39, next 167 runs came in 89 balls. That was an intention. Okay, I have ridden my luck. Now it's all or nothing. I am going for the big hits.
In fact, just, you know, looking at giving a closer look to the 201 runs, 21 and 10, so 31 in boundaries, and he was just doing the math,
44 runs.
144 of the 201 runs came just in boundaries.
Yes. Which I think close to 70% of the thing.
144. Like,
mostly around 70%.
Yeah. 65.
Yeah. So I'm still stunned by this knock. I think it's one of the best knocks that we have seen this year.
This year, you just said at the start of the program,
Best knock ever.
This is the best knock I have ever seen.
Many people say, "Oh, Virat played this."
As soon as I started this, the first question was, "Is this better than Kapil Dev's 175?" I can't answer that because I haven't seen
not
that.
You. Nobody in
Nobody
the world
can
has
seen
that.
it.
Because there was no television camera present that day.
You can't.
No, that was 17 for 5.
You heard one thing, I remember hearing about that 175, that, you know, after a point, Kapil Paju was only sending the ball out of the ground and a couple of balls never came back as well.
No, one of them did. One of them did not, So there's a story of how, maybe for another day, how one ball got lost and it stopped swinging that way. By the way, the one thing I will talk in Kapil Paji's favor, that they were seam-friendly conditions. There was a red ball that you were playing against, 60 over match. And he single-handedly did it, but again there are a lot of pointers that will go in favor of Maxwell, as in the scoreboard pressure, which you didn't have at that time. You were batting first. The scoreboard pressure there, in Maxwell's case, also hampered because of an injury. So multiple injuries at that, and still plays that knock. I think it's going to compete with the best ever.
Indeed.
You've seen Rohit's 200, and again those were batting first.
My question to you is, what if this knock was played by a Rohit Sharma or a Virat Kohli or one of Indian batters?
Then for 50 to 60 years, we would have seen this knock being replayed over and over and over and over and over again.
Only Glenn Maxwell can do this, according to me.
If it was Rohit,
imagine if an Indian player had internet would have come to a standstill.
Short of a
Social
century.
media
Modi
websites
would have done
collapsed.
lots of
Too much traffic.
Yeah. And already you would have seen shot of the century already given to one. This would have been the knock of the century.
No, but that I agree that Virat Kohli getting that shot of the century to Harris Rav 6 is shot of the century.
It is. It was unhuman-like.
Well,
Was this human-like?
Since we're
What he just did?
That particular shot is called shot of an emperor. I think then this would have been called the innings of an immortal, perhaps.
Innings of an immortal. I don't disagree with you on that. Yeah, I mean, if it had come from Rohit or Virat,
Exactly. You would have definitely called it that.
Exactly. Innings of an immortal. That's good.
I only expect two people to play such innings, either Liam Livingstone or Glenn Maxwell.
Liam Livingstone, it's like as if it's like Eid Ka Chand. Only once in a blue moon it happens for him. But Maxwell has done it in the past also. Remember, he hit a 96 against India in a similar kind of a situation. He's done most of his knocks while chasing. If there is one other individual who's matched up to Kohli when it comes to impact in chasing, it's Maxwell. Let's not forget that. He's won you matches from impossible situations. This is one of them. And that's why Glenn, my goodness, the big show has put on an exhibition for the ages.
I don't believe this.
Now, by the way, how is this match competing when we talk about thrillers, the best matches of this year?
For drama, I will still say it was Pakistan
South Africa.
For drama.
Yeah.
No,
for drama.
I'm putting this. This didn't have drama.
This had
It
plenty
didn't
of
have
drama.
drama because
That's what I'm saying.
Siddharth
It
in
reignites.
mid-innings- Siddharth in the mid-innings had picked Afghanistan to win.
I did, but
And I had
I
picked,
said Australia, by the way, Siddharth, if you remember.
damn you.
I had picked no, but mid-innings you weren't here.
Yeah, but I'm saying at
At the start, though, anyone would have picked up Australia.
No, he was back. Both of these guys were backing Afghanistan.
I backed Afghanistan since
But mid-innings when they got the 290 because nobody had chased that much in Wankhede, this and that, everyone was picking up. All I said was that I hope you please take up that clip. All I said was this Australian team is filled with a lot of Maverick players.
Yeah.
They have multiple, and I specifically spoke about this guy called Glenn Maxwell. I said, what if it's a day where he gets you 160 of 80 deliveries? Little did I know that he would indeed do it. So I'd said, because this is a kind of team that if Head doesn't do it, Warner will do it, Warner doesn't do it, Mitch Marsh will do it, Mitch Marsh doesn't do it, Glenn Maxwell will do it, if he doesn't do it, Stoinis will do it. I'd said this, and exactly how it played out. This is a mad team.
He's Mad Max for a reason. Yeah, we just reminded.
There is
He's the
only
big
one
show.
Mad Max. It's not Glenn Maxwell.
Verstappen.
No,
Then?
that is Supermax. In cricket, there is only one Mad Max, the legend Aravinda de Silva. He was next level. He was Glenn Maxwell 10x.
No, he is Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, I know. Oof, that's true.
Okay, Meraj Root says Maxwell ke back. That is true.
That's the theory getting printed tomorrow morning.
Yeah,
Spring नहीं, उसमें कुछ और ही है.
I know. All the Pakistan analysts are saying even the Indian bowlers that ball also has a spring because it's getting so much bounce and swing.
Today at some show they'll be like saying that they were not playing with a leather ball, they were playing with a crazy ball. You touch it, it goes past the boundary.
Okay.
But I'll try to be back if you're live. Let's see.
Yeah.
It should be a short one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ashish Dhar is saying Maxwell knock one of the best one-day knocks in this century. Wow.
Ashish Dhar, huh?
Yeah.
What's he saying? Maxwell knock one of the best of in the century.
Mujib has almost killed SF Dream for AFG. That drop catch reminded me of Gibbs.
in
No, I'm not going to put Mujib the reason for this. Totally.
It was inspired Maxwell batting.
Because
Inspired.
this had to happen. It was written today.
It was written. Wow.
Definitely it was.
Pradeep Srivalsan also. This is one of the best ODI knocks ever, Maxwell.
True.
Well, let's go down.
I will actually see. For me, this is much better than the 264 I saw from Rohit Sharma. I thought, as a 21-year, 22-year-old, I thought I'd seen it all. Like, this was the pinnacle of ODI cricket, the pinnacle of hitting. But I've never seen a man struggle like that. And he was as if, he was on God's mercy, let's say.
Yep.
The way he was wriggling in pain on the ground. As a human, you didn't want to see that.
For me,
pained.
That was a gut-wrenching sight.
Exactly. He was...
I thought, boy, do we need emergency medical services? Because it looked like he was going
That
through
one particular shock,
Yeah,
Siddharth.
even
Remember,
I also.
I couldn't stand that particular
Yeah.
visual when he went to the ground after taking the single.
Yeah, I was shivering of pain.
He
He was under spasm and he was in excruciating pain. Excruciating, but still.
And you should not forget that it was a chanceless innings. Apart from that one catch, I don't think he did. Okay, there was, you cannot call those that other chance was a not even. You cannot even call that a half.
But
chance.
an elite nation would have taken that catch. Like in India would have
It
definitely
would have been a
taken.
50-50 with
India,
also.
South Africa, you expect. But again, I don't think the fielder made it fully.
Yeah.
That's
And-
true. That's true.
And also the edges and all, you cannot count them as.
No, I'm not. There was no edges at all.
There were edges. The first ball, in fact, if that would not have been an edge, it would have gone.
Oh yeah, the hat trick
hat-trick
ball.
Oh, Maxwell, yeah.
He survived even a
Yeah.
hat trick. That was extreme pressure. Azmatullah Omarzai had gotten rid of Warner. He
Yeah.
gotten rid of Josh Inglis. He survived a hat trick with a delivery that came in. It just landed in front of Vikram Ali Khil.
Exactly. And it was just an edge. It could have gone on to hit the off stump.
Yeah,
also.
it was very good ball.
It was a very good ball. Vishal Panchal saying, hard luck Afghanistan, drop catch ruined semi-final qualification. It was worth waking up early, okay. This reminds me of Simon's 143 against Pakistan in World Cup 2003, but better. Yes, Andrew Simons had come in when Australia were effectively 5 down for some 70. He hit 143, got Australia to 310, and their World Cup campaign never looked back from that period.
Pretty sure Simon's going to be very proud of
Yeah.
what he's seen today
Yep.
from a very, very special place, perhaps one not meant for mortals that he's seeing this all
Exactly.
from.
India shouldn't care if it's Oz or Pak or NZ. To win the World Cup, you should be pepped to beat them all.
Agreed.
Champs don't watch history, they make it, bring it on. Absolutely. But somewhere down the line, India's fans and the mentality is that, oh, we don't want to face these kind of teams. There's always this because you lost to them in certain intervals. Australia, they just don't care. Any opponent, bring it on. That's why they're the greatest team.
But at some point, I know as fans, let's say, we don't sort of have that. And I was just wondering, if it was India 91 for 7 and playing at the Wankhede, I'm not too sure. I'm pretty sure the stadium would have been, not just dead silent, it would have been half empty also by then. So I'm not quite sure if, we still have that mentality as a nation, let's say, to outdo somebody like in Australia. But given the cricket that we're playing right now, the brand of cricket we're playing, we need to get that mentality as well. The mama mentality, as you say.
Yeah.
But this is way beyond that. This is just pure Australian elite winning mentality.
This is what Sharan Venakota is saying. I don't know whether to celebrate this win or to shiver. Because this Australian team has risen. Don't know whether to celebrate that we don't face them in semis or whether we are going to face them in final. Look, whatever it is, be ready. If it's India, Australia, be ready for it. Because as I mentioned, 4 ODI losses that India had this year, 3 have come against Australia. And not anywhere else.
In India, yes.
Yeah,
First you lost 2 at the start of the year, then you lost
January.
this one
In
match.
Rajkot.
Exactly. in
But you
Rajkot.
will definitely be playing Australia in the knockouts once. and
Final.
that will, of course,
Now it
be
can
in
be the final.
Yeah.
Only final. There's
Because
no
now
other.
they're short of a 3rd place finish at least.
Yeah, at least. So, you're not finishing in, because you've got 12 points now.
Yeah.
New Zealand or Pakistan can at max get to only 10 along with Afghanistan.
Because South Africa is already on 14. If they lose, they stay on 14. But Australia, if they were to win, they can get to 14. And with net run rate, if it goes in their favor, they can jump to 2nd place as
Yeah,
well.
but that won't.
See,
change India's
anyway,
semi-final.
Australia is playing in Kolkata. They are playing in Kolkata for the time being, unless Pakistan don't do a Kudrat Nizam and ensure they get to 4th. Otherwise, India-Pakistan happens in Kolkata. Australia stay in Mumbai, where potentially you could face a rematch of 2007. South Africa in the semi-final. That was the last time they'd faced the semi-final at that time. Sai Srivastav, just go down, Shashwat, if you can. Just go down a bit. There are a lot of super chats. So, okay. It just felt like the Afghan bowlers were bowling to a machine and someone controlling with a remote. Even video games give a challenge, I guess. Australian World Cups, just a different blood flowing. I mean, agree, man.
Nothing more to add.
The Alpha team. I would. Manchester Rising is saying, I want India versus Australian World Cup final. It's about time to settle some scores and put the genie of 2003 back in the bottle. Why shy away from this? Manchester Rising, there's nothing about putting the genie.
Genie, exactly.
Look, Manchester Rising, rise above all this, okay? If India beats Australia in the final, which they very well can do, It'll be a great feat. You are not equaling Australia for another 10 years. Let's be very honest about it. They won 5 World Cups. India has just won 2. If you win this third, great. But Australia have won World Cups everywhere. Caribbean, they have won. South Africa, they have won. South Africa, Zimbabwe, England, Asia, Australia, New Zealand. They won it all. What more do you want them to do? 2 Champions Trophy in South Africa and in India. World T20 in Asia. They have won mostly away from home. That's why. Nothing of that kind. See, 2003, revenge will be taken. But there is nothing called as putting the genie back in the bottle. It's not as if, oh, if you win now, 2003 result is changed. Nothing of that. It happened, move on. Yeah, you were saying something?
I was saying, yeah, but you know, barring those couple of setbacks that they had in 2003, after that you see 2007, flawless again, and that sustained domination that they had in that period, which went right up till 10, 11 as well. Okay, T20 sort of changed things and they didn't make them look like the superpower that they were. But ODI cricket, there's only one superpower, and it, by the way, it didn't start for 2003, it started back in 99.
99, even 96 if you may argue, because see, 96 they reached the final. It only took a very determined Sri Lanka to ensure that they could beat them, an inspired Sri Lanka side.
Yeah.
Now, looking at whatever is happening, see, that's why when other nations have had a big fall, it's Australia who have been at the top. Be it any kind of transitional change, which nation can come out of a Shane Warne, Glenn McGrath, Jason Gillespie retirement and still be one of the best in the business? That's Australia. Okay.
There was Kasparovich, there was Stuart Clark.
Look at this Australian.
Brett Lee.
Look at his alpha team that was there. Hayden, Gilchrist, Ponting, Martin, Simons. That was 5. Then you had Clark, 5.
There was Hussey also.
Hussey.
There was Mr. Cricket.
And then you had the likes of McGrath, Warne, Lee, Gillespie.
It reminds me, again, that test side reminds me of this reel that continues to do the round. You know, when Harbhajan would tell Saurav Ganguly, you've taken 6 wickets of this Aussie side, who comes in at number 7?
Gilchrist.
Paji, Gilchrist aa raha hai, kya kare, kitne out kare inke?
See, you can only admire the Australians because a population which is 1/10 of India, they continue to produce excellence every single time. The last time they didn't make it out of the league stages was in 1992. It's been 31 years. Yeah. Final, victory, quarterfinals, final, semi-final, another semi-final.
They even, no, after 11 they won it again. No?
That's what I said.
That was a victory, na? That's what I said.
Quarterfinal. Okay, again, 96 final, 99 victory, 2003 victory, 7 victory, 11 quarterfinal, 15 victory, 19 semi-final, 2023 semi-final. Ashish, the bowlers are bowling to a batting machine.
Wait, semi-final with an asterisk.
Why?
Last one. You don't know if it's beyond the semi-final. It could change to victory also.
Yeah. See, because they'll be facing South Africa and they have not had a good run against them. That's why. Shubham, this is the greatest innings in the history of the game for me. He's gone ahead and said game. Greater than 264 or 400 in test by Lara. Situations, stakes, cramps with 6% chance. I mean, he's mentioned it
technology.
All. Yeah, I mean, when Maxwell came, only 6% chance was given to Australia to win. Yet he turned it around and got it.
Let's take Sharan's comment because he's not of the popular opinion. He says that this is not the greatest innings because Afghanistan do not have a well-rounded bowling attack. They always fail to close in matches. Remember, they lost to Pakistan this year earlier. They lack big game experience.
Come on.
I won't say that. I don't think it's a valid argument. It's the same side, by the way, that's already taken down 4 world champs. 3. This would have been 4. This would have been the 4th. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Sharan, come on. Then by that logic, Pakistan's bowling attack had a lot of weakness even in the 2022 T20 World Cup.
Also, 264 came against as if they were, you know, the
Sri Lanka,
the 70s and 80s of West Indies. It wasn't that kind of a bowling attack, right?
Yeah, it wasn't. I mean, come on. Nuwan Kulasekara, Angelo Matthews, Thisara Pereira.
There was no Chaminda Vaas also in that side.
I think they dropped a lot of catches also that day.
Yes.
At number 4, I mean, when Rohit Sharma was on 4, Shaminda Ranga was the bowler. He was dropped at 3rd man. At 4, he went on to make 260 more. So, Sharan, by that logic, 82 that Virat Kohli hit, it's not the greatest innings because Pakistan.
Waqar and Wasim.
There was no Waqar Yunus, there was no Wasim Akram, there was no Saklin Mushtaq or Mushtaq Ahmed. There was only Shaheen Afridi, Haris Rauf. Haris Rauf, by the way, was just a 50-50 bowler.
20-year-olds.
Yeah. They didn't have the greatest spin bowling attack. So we have to appreciate the broader context of the game.
Yeah.
91 for 7, batting with the tail, 6% chances, cramps. A nation that was on the high considering you're beaten 3 world champions. Afghanistan, man, this is their World Cup.
They had the tail up, let's be
Yes.
honest. They
And
had the tail up.
Surviving 2 chances, by the way.
We've taken, this was Sharan's only, right? Oh,
Yeah, we took Sharan's. Freaking awesome. This is what poor fielding does against top teams. This reminds me of the first ODI against South Africa at Bloemfontein. Yes, Marnus Labuschagne, Ashton Agar, so many fielding lapses. But this is a one-man show. Out of the world innings, Afghanistan should blame themselves for this loss. Absolutely. Mujib, as we had said, he will really be feeling the pinch today. But I think the Afghan fans and all will forgive him. But he will be very harsh on himself. So that's the situation.
But I also feel that the Afghanistan side will learn a lot from this tournament, because I think that is what they lack, and I think any team that is rising up the ranks would learn this, that they don't have that big match pressure, big match experience. If this would have been some other team that has that big match experience, they might have wanted to close the game first. Here we clearly saw that they were they were very overexcited and they ran ahead of time. I think these mistakes they will learn.
At least Afghanistan can be proud of the fact that they put up a better performance and better fight against Australia by the likes of defending champions. Aggressive champions England. They put up a much better fight by Pakistan also. Pakistan surrendered against Australia.
I think they are much more hungry than just being satisfied by what they have done.
Exactly. So Fit Bonk, I think I'll take that a bit later. Go up a bit. I think I saw one more comment. Okay, if 5, 6, 7, today Aditya is saying, if 5, 6, 7 batters play like Maxi in last power play, then India, bye-bye. Yeah, who knows? If Stoinis, Mitch Marsh, Green, all go crazy along with Maxwell. Tata, bye-bye, khatam.
I'm
khalas,
still
finish.
scared about the fact that Josh Inglis hasn't performed yet. He has a very
2 matches
good
he's done well, but yeah, he
reputation.
failed today. So Sharan Vinakota, but I never claimed Virat or Rohit innings the great. I just put my point. What's wrong in that? Many will come in future also. But then, yeah, your premise was wrong, Sharan.
Yeah, you're discrediting Afghanistan over here, I feel.
Yeah, you didn't give Afghanistan the respect, and also because you felt that maybe Maxwell could have done it against a minnow. That's the problem. So that's the thing.
But Shan
is
it
saying,
Shan or Shan?
Shan.
Okay.
Max, amazing, but Dew is very crucial yesterday and today's matches, even upcoming matches. After 20 overs today, ball not turning, very easy to bat. If not Dew, surely Afghanistan will have won. Well, Dew in hindsight, maybe not, but who knows? I mean, at 91 for 7, even with Dew, what could have happened? If they had taken on the catch 91 for 8, that's it, game over. And Australia would have lost by about 100 runs.
But due or no due, you only said Wankhede you can't chase, next to impossible, this, that. He's done it.
It took something freakish to change all that.
Genuinely needed something freakish.
Otherwise, had a catchment taken 91 for 8, game over. Simple.
Is it okay, I asked you is it the greatest ODI knock ever? Surpassing Rohit
I
Sharma
put
at
it there.
460?
Absolutely.
I put it there, yeah.
Yes. Looking at the broader circumstances, the holistic nature of the game, yes.
Actually, I agree. That's a bilateral series.
Exactly.
This is a World Cup.
There's so much more context over here.
Also that, I mean, you're not chasing, so you're batting first, no pressure of that. Then that, you're not in a situation where you're 7 down, so scoreboard pressure. You're not in a situation where you're batting with a tail ender, so you have to actually manage your knock.
Yeah.
It's not just
Correct.
about going, like in most other cases like Gale or Guptail or whatever you talk, you could play freely because you also, if you had to take singles, doubles, various other things you could do, and you had a batter at the other end as well. So you're not even thinking about how to manage that.
Correct.
And then add to the fact that you can't take singles or doubles
Yes.
and just score in boundaries. I think in all contexts, I would have to say, I'm trying to think if there's any other knock. I mean, we've looked at Ricky Ponting's in 2003, we looked at Gilchrist in 2007.
Virat 133.
Hobart.
Kapil Dev is 175.
But
that one.
Again,
Because see, there also, India were fighting for a final.
exactly, 40 overs,
you didn't get
37.
in 40.
Yeah.
And it's a slightly better Sri Lankan bowling lineup.
But again, two things where all of those things are there with Glenn, but Virat is fully fit
Younger.
and is not batting with the tail.
He had Shen and Gambhir. Yep.
Number of runs also. Maxwell alone has more runs in boundaries. 144
Not even the Kapil Dev's one side.
Kapil Dev, I just said, the thing is, yes, similar situation, let's say almost hopeless, 17 for 5. But again, no scoreboard pressure. In the sense, you have to set a total. You want to set a big one, I agree. But there's nothing in per se that you're chasing. So you just play naturally. Whatever comes, you go with it, right? So no scoreboard pressure. Again, fit. So no chance of not being able to run singles, doubles. Though in his case, like Maxi's case, he was also batting with the tail, and his tail was also quite competent. But also Maxi had that kind of a batter in Cummins.
But the context of the knock, 2 knocks, both the knocks.
See, even that. By the way, a lot of people think that was like that guaranteed India a semi-final spot. It wasn't the case. But yeah, if had India lost, they would have not qualified. Yeah. But they also needed to win after that to Australia, which they did. And then they qualified. So I mean, it was like a do or die. If you lost, you would have gone. So that's another thing that went in that Kapil Dev's knock favor. But I have to put this higher up because of so many other hurdles that he had to overcome.
Yeah, and that was also the highest individual score at that point.
Yeah. So again, sometimes it's not just about the most number of runs; it's the context. And how you get it. And I think on all those, I agree that sometimes you need a day or two to really look back, analyze. But from the top of my head, if I'm thinking of all the knocks, all the great ODI knocks, I am putting this number one. I'm putting this number one because it has so many other factors going for it, as we just discussed. Again, I'm repeating, batting with the tail, scoreboard pressure of chasing, context in the sense World Cup match, so not a bilateral, and let's not forget his fitness issues, not one, multiple. Back was to begin with, then cramps, could not run, all of that put together.
And just to add over there, you mentioned World Cup, with the semi-final qualification somewhat on the line also.
Yep.
And quite a decent bowling attack. You can look at Afghanistan as being, let's say, though in this tournament they've been good, but even if you're not counting them in the top 4 or 5 countries, but that's only basis their batting sometimes. Their bowling, if you were to look at it, one of the best that you have, especially the spin bowling attack, which was doing well in these conditions. So again, not easy bowling either.
Correct.
So
maybe a different format, but I think the closest that you could come to was injury, batting with the tail, everything at stake. VVS Lakshman Mohali, Australia.
No, that was a test match.
But still, I'm
not mixing formats. Test cricket will have some outstanding knocks. I'm not looking at that. Then though, even Eden Gardens, Lakshman's knock. There will be various other knocks. No.
Okay, not test match. Then ODIs.
I'm just looking at ODIs.
But like Maxwell wasn't in any kind of pressure when he came. Yeah, the scoreboard pressure and everything. But as we discussed, it wasn't, their qualification wasn't online.
No, but like Harshit mentions, technically they're not qualified.
But I don't think that was playing on their heads.
Why not?
Okay, fine. Okay, let me take his point if it wasn't playing on their head. Well, then credit to them for not letting them play on their head.
Yeah.
That's what sport is about, right? Any player, let's say, who we say is a player that does not allow pressure to get to him in an individual sport or whatever, but that's a quality, right? Yep. So if they did that, they could have been out had they lost this.
Yeah.
Then the last game was a do or die. If they lost that, they were out.
Just to add to that, by the way, from Glenn Maxwell was Mahendra Singh Dhoni calmness. Isn't that hailed?
No. This was next level, even compared to Mahendra Singh Dhoni, because with MS playing,
instead of 46.5,
he's not smiling.
Yeah.
He's not smiling. Yeah. He's not joking about.
Yeah.
He's not. If he was in pain like this and lying down, he would still be very sensible, calm, but he would not be like having a gala time, which seemed like Maxwell was having, despite the fact that he was injured, could not walk. He was seeing humor in his own.
Yeah. He was enjoying.
If it was MS Dhoni, instead of 46.5, it would have ended at 49.5. Simple.
But India could have won.
He's saying India will win.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't have finished it in.
That's fine.
Yeah. He would have liked to have taken it. 49.5.
But one thing that Dhoni used to say holds true in Maxwell's case also. Maybe that's the thing he was telling himself. कि प्रेशर सिर्फ मेरे पे नहीं बॉलर पे ज्यादा कि मैं खेल रहा हूँ. Maxwell, is a maverick. You bowl him anywhere, bowlers are going to have that thing in mind. Yeah? I can't bowl him in the York, I can't bowl him here, I can't bowl him there because he can do anything. I bowl him a little offside, he'll reverse sweep me and whatnot. Exactly what he's doing today.
I mean, I am still got goosebumps thinking about the knock. I mean, 185 to 201. 6, 4, 6. That's it.
That was the best.
15 needed for Australia to win, 15 needed for him to get to a double 100.
Can we see the points table? Because I just want to know about Afghanistan. So now Australia qualified, as we mentioned at the start of the program. What that means is now India is either going to play, they are not going to be playing either South Africa or Australia.
Yeah.
So India most likely are going to be playing either New Zealand, Pakistan
Or Afghanistan.
Or Afghanistan,
right? So in that sense, now I'm just looking at the net run rate. So New Zealand and Pakistan, no. So Afghanistan net run rate obviously is taken a hit after that. So Afghanistan, the only way they can qualify is if they beat South Africa in their last game and hope both Pakistan and New Zealand lose or their games are washed out, whatever.
Yeah.
They do not get the 2 points.
Yes.
So if that happens, that's the only way Afghanistan can qualify. On net run rate, they aren't qualifying because where they are right now, they have to beat South Africa. If because for Pakistan
it's
to go past was 130, this will be some 230,
yes,
400 runs or something.
They have to only win.
If New Zealand wins their game day after tomorrow, then it's done. The points table is over there.
So it's the most simplest formula is for New Zealand. Win and through. I agree that now you will say Pakistan will not only have to win but 130 runs and.
But that is also provided it's
just one run.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying, let's say it is by 20 runs, it becomes 150 runs, whatever it is. So technically for New Zealand, their destiny is in their hand.
Yes.
You win the game and 90% you're through. Because from there, Pakistan of course can win their last game, but to win it by that margin
against England
would be a minor.
I'm just wondering which side of which side would Siddharth be on in that match between New Zealand and Sri Lanka.
The only chance
New Zealand, it would be for me because see, as I said, sentimental favorites are always practical favorites are New Zealand, sentimental Sri Lanka. But I think the actions of the Sri Lankan team yesterday and whatever happened, I have lost some respect for them. They refused to shake hands with the Bangladesh team after that. Sure, it's an incident.
Yeah.
Even Angelo Matthews admitted that okay, it wouldn't have impacted much. I mean, I'm not saying that I would have helped Sri Lanka win or anything, but you look at Kusal Mendis's comment also. Why should I congratulate Virat Kohli on a 40?
No, I think he got confused that day.
Yeah, no, I think, and you notice that. I think we're taking it. I don't think he got the question.
Yeah.
And you know what has happened after that? Notice it. I think, see, that's not his first language. He did not get it. And which is why, did you see at the presentation yesterday, there was a translator standing. I think they have taken a conscious decision after that to have a translator next to Kusal Mendis.
Yes.
And so that could be. I don't think he quite understood he may have understood congratulate what, but he could not understand the context in which it was asked. That's why I tell you that sometimes these press conferences, and that's why I also feel that players should refuse to speak. I was in Sri Lanka when Vellalage won the man of the match. He came for that press conference. He came with a translator, and I think that was fair. And that's how it should be. If a player is not comfortable with the language, and all players don't need to know English, they should generally, board should be very careful, because whatever they say becomes news.
Yes.
They should generally send a translator who will translate the question and then also translate it back. It's much needed. Otherwise, these kind of confusion happen. That's why check the post-match presentation yesterday. Kusal Mendis came. He came with a translator.
No, but then the Sri Lankan team not shaking hands with the Bangladesh.
That I agree. But I'm just clarifying on that Virat Kohli, because I find it very hard to believe any player will say, why should I congratulate?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think he got the question.
So that taken aside,
But that, I agree. While what Shakib did was wrong and we blamed him, and we've done plenty of videos on that. There's a dugout and you can look at that. But once the game is done, you shake hands like you're supposed to. Don't be happy and move. Or at best, I mean, we've seen certain times no player do it with another player. Let's say if Angelo had an issue with Shakib, and only Angelo did not shake it, which Shakib used to like. The whole team boycotting a handshake, that was also taken to another level.
And remember, Sri Lanka are also no saints. I mean, they have also done it in the past, all these things. For example, Sachitra Senanayake, he did it to Josh Butler. But at that time, the misinterpretation of the rule was happening, the run out, that is.
No, but run out, you see, that's different. No, Siddharth. Run out rule is divided. Spirit versus rule.
Yeah.
Here it was 1/3 dimension, which was not there, which is safety.
Safety.
So, and if you listen to Angelo Matthews when he came out,
He did
stressed
stress
on the safety bit
factor,
only.
yep.
He is not saying that, whatever. He is not saying that, oh no, why did you use the rule, or why are you even invoking this rule and appealing. He's not saying that. He is also going to that safety thing. Which is why I'm saying there's a third dimension, so it cannot be compared to any other controversial decision. I mean, I agree that Sri Lanka has done it. Randeep's
no ball.
Randeep's no ball, to deny Virender Sehwag.
So that
lot of issues have happened in the past. I mean, for example, Sri Lanka once adopted such negative tactics against Pakistan in the test match. They slowed the game down, and then they were saying, oh, but when the ball was going, they couldn't see it because it was almost sunset. But they were complaining to the umpires. But then the umpire said, you only brought it upon yourself with your slow play. So at that time, there are a lot of instances where Sri Lanka has lost the respect of the cricketing world. And that's why now there is absolutely nothing in my mind that, oh, who am I going to support? I mean, it is obviously New Zealand. But yeah, the actions of the Sri Lankan team yesterday, I didn't like it. And I think later on, when we look back at you, they might regret it. That's why.
both teams will regret what they did.
I mean,
Can we take some questions?
more questions, yes.
Oh, you have taken some.
We have taken all of them, and we'll see if there's many more. Oh.
Looks like we got
But feel for Afghanistan,
Yeah.
They've been, whatever said and done, despite the result, they've been outstanding this tournament. Whatever happens to them, they qualify for the semis or not. Even if they were to lose their last game and not qualify, I still think that, just as, you remember certain tournaments for teams and performances, I think I'll remember this tournament for Afghanistan's performance.
Afghanistan have put up a bigger fight and heart than Pakistan, Sri Lanka, England against Australia.
Even Bangladesh are these teams that have been playing so much more cricket and have played so much more cricket.
And I also think that they will learn a lot from this. I don't think the game is a very big differentiator between them and the big teams anymore. I think it's more of the mindset. Because today I felt like, I'll repeat it again, that they went just a little ahead of time and they thought they had won the game, and that excitement, he dropped the catch also. So I think that is what they will learn. Even Virat mentioned it, that he only learned this after the 2019 semi-final, when he said that when I came out to bat, I thought we were winning this game and all of that. So I think that is something they will learn, and they're not a team that they're going to be satisfied by just coming close to the semi-finals, and I think they're going to do a great once there.
It's like, the Italia 90 when you had the Italia 90 where I remember that World Cup was, Germany won, Argentina made the final, Diego Maradona cried, but I remember that World Cup for a team like Cameroon, Roger Milla and his Cameroon.
Yes, semi-finals.
Quite like that is what I'm going to remember this World Cup. No, I think they lost quarters.
Maybe.
But as I'm saying, there's certain teams that come and win the hearts of the rest of the world, and you remember a tournament for that one team. I think Afghanistan, as I said, no matter what you do, when you look back 10 years down the line at this World Cup, you will of course talk about the winners, India's domination, so on and so forth, Maxwell's innings. I think you'll also talk about what a breath of fresh air the Afghanistan team was, and how they punched above their weight.
Absolutely.
So they'll also be remembered.
Do you think that they read the pitch a little wrong, because we saw that the pacers dominated since the beginning for the Afghans, and the spinners did not have that much health, so they dropped someone like a Fazal Farooqi today to get in Naveen Ulaq, because they thought there would be slowness.
But with Maxwell in that kind of a form, I don't think it would have helped. Anyways, because see, Noor and all, they went with their strength. They went in with their strength.
I kind of agree that I would have also looked at playing Fazal Farooqi.
Yeah.
Instead of a spinner, not go with
I think
four spinners.
two things going in Naveen's favor. One, of course, the fact that small ground and he's better with the bat, much better with the
I'm
bat.
saying for a spinner, you played four spinners.
Yeah.
Maybe dropped Noor and
Again,
gotten
but
Fazal.
like Siddharth said, backing your strengths.
But you got to respect conditions. It's the Wankhede.
Yeah.
Again, it's all in hindsight.
Hindsight, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Vishal Panchal from the USA. Greatest don't know, but Sachin ODI century Sharjah.
No, good shout, good shout. I was an outstanding inning. But
143,
as I said,
134.
there are so many other knocks that come to my mind. His 100 and CB series as well. One of
in Sydney.
Yes.
Against Australia.
2008 CB series.
Second final.
Yeah.
No, first final. India won it.
He got runs in both games.
91 and 117.
So, I mean, that was an outstanding. His 98 in Centurion versus Pakistan.
Pakistan, 2003.
But as I said, there are lots of them that you will look at. What you saw today was very unusual. Just out of the world. So that's why I'm putting it very high up. I agree that sometimes it's also the emotion of having witnessed something as crazy as what we have. It was absolute madness. But again, even a week later, maybe we'd be in a better position. But I have a feeling that I'd still put this as one.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
Crazy stuff.
Manchester Rising saying, Oz are pumped up. Best time for India to beat them in knockouts.
Best.
Final? Yeah, I mean, this Indian team is
I don't
better in all
understand-
parameters.
I don't understand one thing, how whichever form we are in, whatever form New Zealand in, where tournament we are playing, how do we end up against New Zealand in the first knockout? Always.
You don't know you're getting New Zealand.
You may be getting Pakistan.
The only chance Pakistan and Afghanistan have now is that it rains and the match is washed out, because I don't think they're losing.
See,
to
November-
Afghanistan pretty much done because
You're not
can't
recovering
have-
from this.
Both teams are not losing.
And they've got a negative net run rate. Yeah, look at the other two teams.
I'm saying for them, I'm not looking at net run rate. I'm saying why for them, if you eliminate the net run rate, is both New Zealand and Pakistan lose and they win, they go through. So I'm saying that if you're just looking at net run rates, I'm not even looking at. So that's also a chance, but a outside one. For them to beat South Africa is very tough anyway. And then to hope both New Zealand and Pakistan are to lose is also unlikely. So I think Afghanistan pretty much done. In the sense, now you got Pakistan and New Zealand.
See,
New Zealand most likely.
the problem is November 9th, 70% chance of rain.
Yeah, that's the only.
And it is not a day game where you can escape. It's a day-nighter. And rain only around the evening time. So it's not good for New Zealand, Sri Lanka.
You may still get a 20.
Exactly.
Hope so.
Who knows?
Yeah, hope so.
It's in Bengaluru.
Like you saw the other day.
Yeah.
Like you saw the other day, New Zealand would know that.
Bengaluru.
399 and they lose.
Rain is what we need here in Delhi NCR, man. Pollution,
I
killing us.
know. Get those artificial cloud seedings.
No
here.
wind speed, nothing at all, landlocked.
Oh my god. Nothing. And it's going to be like this for one more week. And it's
Yes.
going to spike even in Diwali.
They are saying that the next 6 days are the worst.
What?
Next 6 is.
Are you?
Yes.
Serious?
Continuous
that's
rain
Why don't we shift to the hills and do our shows from there?
from 1
Can we be your guest?
to 7.
The only problem is how would we do?
TV show.
Saransh will have to stay. One person.
I
has
can
to
run
be here,
copies.
nah.
Yeah. Please
Eric
take
and
me
I
away.
copy, send the voice. Anchoring I can do while sitting there. Like
We can take the green screen also with us. Part of
I
it.
can sit in.
Why do we need a green screen when you have such a
join
view?
us online. The only thing for which we would need is someone to run around, get edited and things like that. Nah?
We'll do mostly lives and all that.
1 to 7 p.m. continuous rain in Bengaluru on Thursday.
Excellent.
1 p.m. to 7.
7 p.m.
2 p.m. is the match.
After 7 it's clear.
If that game gets washed out,
Pakistan.
then it's Kudrat ka nizam, for sure.
Yeah. And then you are playing them on the 16th.
Oh god.
But that will be the best, na? To 2011
No, why
repeat.
not?
I like to play Pakistan over New
It will
Zealand.
again be a one-sided game.
Yeah, and I
It'll
like
again
to-
be a one-sided
Yeah,
game.
yeah, yeah.
Don't be so
Actually,
sure.
No, but no, I see that way. To anyone, even Afghanistan on a given day, you don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
don't be sure about. But I kind of agree with him. I'm just looking at. I think this Indian team, no matter which team comes in, they start clear favorites. They are on a different planet right now. Let's be honest about it. But you're right. You try and minimize
Yeah.
the damage, in the sense you try and maximize your chances of winning, and then so you hope for these things. These are not under your control. You just hope for. So in that sense, he's right that if I'm an Indian fan and you ask me pick an opponent and I need my team to reach the final between New Zealand and Pakistan, I'm picking Pakistan.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I'm very honestly saying
I'm
this.
not picking New Zealand.
Definitely, and very honestly, I remember the game versus New Zealand here. I clearly remember I wasn't able to sleep the night before India played.
That's the
New
only
Zealand
game
in the
where
World
India has
Cup.
been pushed, which had ebbs and flows,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
had different situations, which a regular game needs to have. It's like India has not played a regular game, so there has been no ebbs and flows. That was a regular game that India played, a regular ODI game.
I had a dream couple of days back of that KL Rahul's catch out to Latham.
Yeah, you and your dreams, you dream
Look.
cricket all the time.
Look.
I'm very scared of New Zealand.
Streaks are meant to be broken.
That's fine, Siddharth. Yes.
No,
But I don't want to take
Yeah,
that
I'm
chance.
not looking at it from the prism of streak.
No, if Pakistan come to the semi-final.
But then it took
Hey,
a
Khadi won
Why
8
you
also.
always-
That way, though, even Netherlands came out.
Exactly.
Anything can happen. Now.
And they can
You
beat
don't
you in
know.
Diwali.
I'm just
They
saying
can
on
beat you in
current form.
Diwali.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying
It's
on
there.
current form.
See, okay, if you ask me to rate, like, if I was God, okay, and I am a god who is a fan of the Indian cricket team,
Okay.
and I want India to win, but I can't influence the result. At best, I can do is ensure who they can play. So, in terms of my preferences, if I have to give, first preference out of the remaining teams that can still qualify for the set. First preference I'll take, give me Afghanistan
Sabse
for
aasan.
India to reach the final.
Yeah.
Second preference, give me Pakistan. Okay. Third preference, I'll say give me South Africa. They will lose in the semi-final.
Yeah.
Fourth preference, give me New
Zealand.
Zealand. Fifth preference, Australia. Again, I repeat, against all of them, India would start favorites,
Yes.
even against Australia.
Yeah.
But I'm just putting it in my, order of preference.
Yeah.
The one that I think most likely to beat is my first preference.
आसान नहीं है बॉस.
अरे कोई भी गेम आसान नहीं है
दिल्ली
World
दूर
Cup
है.
में.
दिल्ली अहमदाबाद अभी भी दूर है.
अभी अहमदाबाद दूर है.
Yep.
हाँ.
We've taken
normal ones, yeah.
normal.
Normal ones also.
Come on. Okay, let's go. Freaking Awesome says toss is so crucial when you're playing in Mumbai. Good point.
Yeah.
Seems it's the case in Kolkata too. If you feel first by losing the toss, you need to restrict opposition below 250. Otherwise, it's tough. In Mumbai, I think it's the other way around.
You
Where-
bat first.
Bat first.
Yeah. That is the thing.
Chasing seems to be an issue,
Issue.
which is quite surprising because most of the time you would have said no chase because of the dew. You wouldn't want to be bowling, and batting gets slightly easier. But it's exactly different. Fitmong says Kudrat ka nizam is active, which it is.
Yeah, that's why I wanted Afghanistan to
That's
win.
why he's just pointed out that rain is expected.
Yeah. And wait, what is Akash Bharat was saying? Guys, in World Cup, I think Gilly, Maxi and Silva 96. How much?
Silva's final.
And no, I would say the semi-final.
His semis was better, but even his final.
Final, yeah. Ari was in a different zone altogether, 107. But I think that 66 because you lost Jasurya, Kalu, Gurusina all very cheaply. 2 for 3 they were.
Can
And
I tell you which no, if it had happened, because we are looking at, had Sachin won you that semi on that pitch now,
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
that would have come into that 96 semi-final.
65 runs he had scored
It was
finally.
a minefield. It became a minefield. It was turning square.
Yeah.
But Jasurya was not a big turner of the ball. Was getting batters out from behind the stump. And Sachin's the only one. Had Sachin won you that match?
Yeah. Then.
Was that the one that happened in
Maxi
Kolkata,
level.
right?
Yeah. Where fans rioted.
Yeah, and he
That
was
would have
crying.
been this level.
Yeah. Sachin, yes. Like.
Yeah, but why do we always? What if Dhoni was not run out and won you the game from there?
No, that would. I am telling you, see, 25 of 10, he would have gone to 23 of 9, would have played out 19 needed of the last over. Jimmy Neesham was bowling, probably.
There was a chat there, Barnabas Theodore, that's not his real name, I'm guessing,
hope
whatever,
so.
some super.
Aussies in
But he says
final.
Aussies in final, which now is pretty much on
16th.
track because Aussie playing South Africa.
Have we heard that before?
2007, 1999.
Oh.
After 16 years.
Themba.
Yep.
Take all the confidence that you have. I'll send you the positive energy.
Yep.
But back of your head, you know. I can only feel.
I know.
No, but the India South Africa final would be very interesting because one choker would streak would end.
Yeah, he's correct. I mean, India choked for 10 years.
India
India
chokers.
are two-time World Cup winners, my friend.
South
In-
Africa
Plus Champions Trophy winner, plus World T20 winner.
T20 World Cup winner. My hand.
But I can understand the generation.
Punch you from here.
I'm talking about in recent times.
See.
See what I mean?
You're still not getting. They have already won prior.
A split second extra to understand what he actually said.
They have already won prior. South Africa have not won since 98.
But I'm just talking about my generation. Since then.
Actually, we're giving benefit of the doubt. His generation not seen. They've only seen them choke.
Yeah, I know. 14, 15, 17,
And I've seen
19,
a
21,
lot of
22.
times that has happened because we have seen more ICC trophies also.
In our generation, it has that many ICC. Na? These guys have seen it 6, 7 times already in their generation. So,
A good point by Weber of Tarangi where he's saying Pat Cummins. We did speak about it, Harshit, when we were planning the TV back. Let's not forget about Pat Cummins. By the way, again, why I'm giving him credit, he also curtailed his natural instincts. He's an aggressive batter.
Yeah.
He likes to play his shots. Today he said, no, boss, I'm gonna get stuck here, guard one end. Maxi, you're gonna take. I have a feeling the game did not go that far. Had Maxwell gotten out towards closing in on the win and the net run rate was over runner ball, then it would have been Cummins who would have played that stroke maker's role, and you would have had someone like Zampa then play the Cummins role. So they balanced that out also very well. But you're right, Pat Cummins. But that's the thing with Australia, right? Till number 9.
number 9, yep.
Zampa got runs last game, so till number 10, quite people like who can hang about.
Even Hazelwood can hang around.
11.
Yeah. Cummins, indeed, the best 12 of 68.
Yep.
Definitely.
Abhishek Singh says that any team reaching the semis would be afraid of India.
Yeah.
Not other way.
Also known the Kapil Baji 70 has been televised.
No.
He's
His
talking.
joke is
joking.
the film.
The film.
His joke is the film.
अरे वो real है, real नहीं है. That's real. Hey.
No, I get the joke.
I know.
But obviously nobody has seen it. But I've spoken to a lot of people who were there, who saw it. That's why I wrote it in my book. You can pick it up. It's available on Amazon.
We'll share the link in the description.
And I'm a romantic. I would have put it, and I did put it at number 1. But what I've seen today, incredible. I've just told you the reasons why I'm putting it as number 1 knock ever. But he says any team would be afraid to face India. 100% right.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. The way India are playing, any team, Australia, Maxwell, anyone would be scared. 100% agree.
Yep.
Just that you're also trying to maximize your chance. Huh? That's what I said.
Correct.
If given a choice. Otherwise, you have to have the winning mentality. Bring on anybody, man.
Yep, indeed.
India will tackle them.
GGK is saying Sachin 200 was best. Prime Stain and South Africa bowlers. Sachin very late in career, nobody
GGK,
thought 200 in ODI
that
possible.
was Gwalior.
Yeah. Captain Roop Singh Stadium.
That's like
Road.
meant for, yeah.
It's a road.
He's
The
saying no
bilateral
guys.
series, batting first. Charles Langeveld.
Langeveld.
Monet Mokel, Dale Steyn.
Stain, but no.
No,
GGK. No. And I'm a Sachin fan.
You know.
Yep.
Okay, on that note, you're tired?
No, I am not going to sleep. I'm going to watch
actually,
the
adrenaline is
Maxwell.
Very high. We're going to be watching the highlights.
Yes.
You guys can check it out too. If you're joining us now, don't forget to see the
there's one more
start,
super chat.
our entire show that we had. We started about hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
So you can check out lots of interesting things.
Okay,
last
2
couple of
more.
questions we'll take. Okay.
Last 2 supers.
Naval Singh says, just an observation, in 83, 175 was an unheard of score, but to get that after 5 for 70 to be power is Maxwell 100. I agree, Naval, which is a valid point, but in that era, you also had a Viv who got 180. So, I'm completely in agreement with you, which is why I rated it very highly. And I've even given you a few other things that go in that favor, which you haven't mentioned, is that you're playing with the red ball, which swings a little bit more than the white and so on and so forth. I agree. But few things, as I said, in terms of batting first versus scoreboard pressure is different. Kapil Paji was fit like a fiddle, so could bat. Maxwell now struggling. Kapil Paji, on that situation also remember, as I mentioned, I've written it in my book, you can read it, that while the ball was doing a lot, Karan and co were like making it very tough. But once that one ball which got hit and got lost, the swing vanished, and it happened sometime with a different ball. So it wasn't then very tough. And if you saw Zimbabwe also, when they came out to bat, condition and shape, they were also going at a very fast clip to bat on that day. So it wasn't that tough later on. Early morning, it was.
Plus first World Cup for Zimbabwe also. Ever.
Yeah. So, which is why I'm saying.
Yeah. Bhargav is, yes, this generation has seen only the C word. Yes, I agree. Just back outside, looks like Oz has warmed up for finals.
Fact.
Fact,
That's
yeah.
one thing about Australia. You've got to give it to them. When it comes to knockouts, crunch games, they do bring on their A game. Where most teams sometimes take that pressure or fear of failure or whatever you call it. Australia take it a notch above.
Yeah.
That's something that they do.
Definitely. I remember when they had lost 2-2 when the tournament started. Sidvi sir mentioned that whenever they have lost 2 games, the tournament hasn't been nice to them, and nobody had ruled them out. But yeah, there were questions on them. Adam Zampa wasn't performing, so they have genuinely notched their game up since then. As soon as they've got
Their
Six
bowling
consecutive
remains
games.
their weakness,
Yeah.
which is why I'm not rating them that highly. Their bowling remains their weakness. Most teams will get a lot of runs against them. But as I said, they have a few batters in their lineup which can go absolutely
Berserk.
crazy, berserk, whatever you call it.
Yeah, they
As
can.
was on display today. And we're not saying it now. Please do check out all our shows from the start. This is something we maintain.
Yep.
On that note, thank you very much for giving us company. It's a great evening.
Yes.
What a World Cup it's now turning out to be. Started off slowly, but now, you know, the context, the games that are coming our way, India performing so well, you know what your destination
Yep.
is.
So tomorrow it's you may say qualification for Champions Trophy. England versus Netherlands.
Yep.
If England lose tomorrow, their Champions Trophy hopes are gone. Gone in that sense. So tomorrow it's England Netherlands, but from 9th onwards, all very important games. New Zealand, Sri Lanka. 10th, then you have Afghanistan, South Africa. 11th, Australia, Bangladesh, and Pakistan,
Diwali.
England, and followed by 12th.
Diwali.
The Diwali battle, India versus Netherlands.
Who plays on Diwali?
India.
Back to India.
Who plans it like that? Yeah.
BCCI and ICC. Thank you.
I'm banging this in my head.
Okay, so let's call it a night and see you tomorrow, folks. Bye bye. See you.
See you.
Nandri.
Vanakkam. Run.
Run, Shashwat, run.